Shock, a podcast where we gush over the best decade in existence, the mid-90s to the mid-2000s and slightly over. I'm your host, Queen of Celeste, as a completely unbiased, disembodied voice, depending on where you're hearing this. Join me in gushing over the masterpiece that is Spirited Away to crying over the Superman scene in The Iron Giant. Before we get into all that, do y'all remember Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time? Released November 21st, 1998, the game stars Link, the boy without a fairy, as he embarks on his quest through time to save Zelda in the world from Daddy Ganondorf. Alright, so just a bit of context. I recently played this game, last year? I think it was like last year. And it was an experience. I will tell you, it was an experience. Like, I didn't play it when it first came out. I was but a baby. I was just 2 years old when it came out. And I had a freaking, the funny thing is, around the time, I had a Nintendo 64, but I just never got the game. I had Hey You Pikachu, and GoldenEye, all the cool games, right? But I never had Ocarina of Time. But I did get a chance to play it recently, and it's still in my head. And there are some things that I do like about it. There's a lot of things that I don't like about it. I know this is like a lot of people's list as like their favorite game of all time. Trust me, when I used to watch Mojo in the back in the day, they used to have freaking top game list is Ocarina of Time. That's the top game ever created. I'm like, let me play this game. So now we're here. After I played it, I have my opinion and I want to talk about it. So before we get into that, I'm going to cut to my lonely rant for some of y'all. This is brand new. This is the first time I'm putting it in there. So this is my lonely rant. It's basically a 3-minute what do you call it? An intermission, there you say. A 3-minute intermission before we actually get into the podcast, where I basically rant on about whatever topic it has. It doesn't have to have anything to do with the topic I'm talking on my podcast, but you can also see visuals on my YouTube as well. And you can follow me on my TikTok, on my Twitter. I don't really get on Instagram, but you can follow me on there too if you want to. It don't matter. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and send y'all over there. I'll see y'all in just a bit. What is the best Resident Evil game you ever conceived? Well, I'm here to tell you. What's going on, y'all? This is Lonely Rant, and I'm Queen of Celeste. Thank you so much for coming by for my Lonely Rant, where I spend a good 3 minutes telling you why my opinion is correct and why everybody else's is wrong. Anyway, today we got Resident Evil and what is the best Resident Evil game. I got my timer here. Let me go ahead and get this set for you real quick. I got a timer here for 3 minutes. Let's go ahead and go. First off, what is a Resident Evil game? Resident Evil game is a horror game that it encompasses fear. It got the campiness, it got the silliness, it got the puzzles, it got the monsters, it got the fear. It's scary. That's the game. It got the weapons. It's awesome. Right? Resident Evil is an amazing franchise. If you never played it, you gotta play it. Anyway, what game encompasses Resident Evil the best? What game encompasses fear? All that, what I just said, the best. And I'm here to tell you, it's Resident Evil 1 Remake. And here's why. Resident Evil 1 Remake, the 2002 release, I think? Yeah. That game is the scariest Resident Evil game I ever played. It's scary. It got freaking... if you ever run into a Crimson Head, it's scary. It got the atmosphere. You're in the Spencer... Look, I'm in the Spencer Mansion. You're in the Spencer Mansion. You are... It's isolated. The controls are it has tank controls. So it's hard to control on purpose. So you can't just maneuver around. A lot of people's favorite... They'll say, oh, it's Resident Evil 4. I get it. That's a lot of people's favorite because it has the action. It got Leon. It got the campiness, right? It's really good. But it's not a Resident Evil game. Actually, Resident Evil 4 was the downfall for Resident Evil. Not saying that, that game was bad. It wasn't. That made freaking Capcom go in a different direction because it was so popular. And then you say, a lot of people don't talk about Resident Evil 5. That's literally Resident Evil 4. But bad. The heck? It's the same. It's literally the same. And let's not get into Resident Evil 6, even though I enjoyed it. But anyway. But yeah, a Resident Evil game that a lot of people enjoy that I feel would be Resident Evil 1 Remake. Like, you play as either Jill or Chris, and you, like I said, you're in the Spencer Mansion. A lot of people's favorite is also Resident Evil 2. Like, either the remake or the original. The original, I prefer, honestly, Resident Evil 2 Remake. Resident Evil 2, the original, is a better game, in my opinion. Whereas Resident Evil 2 Remake it's a phenomenal game. It's scary. It got Mr. X and all this stuff. It does encompass fear. But that's all it does. It encompasses fear. It doesn't have the campiness. Yeah, it's cute when you see Leon and Claire, you know, mingle with each other. It's cute, right? But it don't have that. It don't got that silly charm like Resident Evil is known for. Like, have you ever listened to Resident Evil remakes like dialogue? It is so dumb, but it's like, it's perfect, because it's like you got this dumb campy, like, these characters, right? But then you're in this freaking horrifying place with freaking crazy heads around the corner, right? You do, right? It's scary. And, you know, I can only think of like Resident Evil 4 and Resident Evil 2 being on the top. Resident Evil 3 is a good game, but it's not even close. But yeah, Resident Evil 1 remake, hands down. If you never played it, play it, and you're gonna know this game is scary. It's so scary. Get used to the controls. It's the tank controls, so you gotta get used to them. But that is the best Resident Evil game, best experience, and that is 3 minutes. Thank y'all so much. I appreciate that. This Lonely Rain is going by so fast. It's like my mouth is getting so dry talking. I wish I could talk more, but I only got 3 minutes. If you want to hear more, let me know in the comments. If you want to, you know, contest my goddamn opinion, you're gonna be wrong. But let me know in the comments. I definitely would love to read that. I definitely love to hear it. If you're hearing this on the podcast, keep listening to the podcast. Thank y'all so much for giving me your time. If you're listening to this on YouTube, give me a follow. Check me out on my TikTok, where you can see other videos as well. Other than that, yeah, I'm gonna see y'all later. Bye-bye. Alright, Ocarina of Time. What did I like about it? So, I really enjoyed the story of this game. I really did. It was, you know, just a regular hero saves the princess type story, right? Bare bones, regular story. I just liked it. It really, I like the whole the time travel aspect. Like, you have to do certain dungeons as a kid, do certain dungeons as an adult. And you have to do certain things. You have to, you can only do things in the future, or you can only do things in the past. I like that. Ignore my charger. That's my phone. Anyway, but you had to do certain things, you know, based off the time, which I really enjoyed. That was really different, you know. And mind you, I played the Nintendo 64 version, right? I played later, but we ain't gonna talk about that. But anyway, I like the time travel aspect. I actually did like this Zelda. Like, a lot of people be like, "Oh, Zelda's boring" and all that stuff like that. I did like this Zelda. She was more, how can I put this? She was more self-aware in this one. I really like Ganondorf. If I'm not mistaken, this is like, I think this is the first time Ganondorf, not Ganon, is first introduced. I'm not sure. I could be wrong. I'm hoping. I may be wrong. I'm pretty sure I'm wrong. I'm not really into the Legend of Zelda lore like that. But I really like that Ocarina of Time is like, if you know the or if you looked at the Legend of Zelda Historia, I think Ocarina of Time is the pivotal part in like the hero's journey. Like, if you die here, it affects the storyline, and certain games come into effect. You know, or if you succeed here, or so on and so forth. Like, I like the story. I like how, you know, while Link is asleep, Ganon is wreaking havoc. You know, I like that. Let me turn that thing down. Yeah, but I like that aspect. I like that, they show you, it's not all pixies and daisies. It's a complete contrast from freaking, Mario 64, right? It's super, except for the piano, or the goddamn eel and Mario 64, but that's a whole different breed. We'll get into that in a different podcast. But yeah, I do like that aspect. I do like that they did so much. They took such a risk. It's like, if you look at the older Legend of Zeldas, which I never played, but I have seen Let's Plays and all that stuff like that up, and then you see Ocarina of Time released in 1998, it's such a jump. I think it's really nice. I do like it. It's like if you so used to old ones, Ocarina of Time is a breath of fresh air. And I also like the world. I like the world building that it gives you. I like the characters. I like the environments. They're really different. Well, I'm not gonna say different because they're kind of like, oh, water, ice, fireplace. But it's like, I like it. I like the world building. I like freaking that excuse me, the Gorons eat rocks, you know, and they're rock people. They're rockmen. I like the Zora. They're fishmen. I like that. And I like how, like, if you pay attention to, like, the Legend of Zelda games, the Zora are, like, literally evolving in your face. And I find it funny because, like, they look different every single time. No, it's like they look best in Breath of the Wild. Let me tell you what. But in Ocarina of Time, they definitely look different. Like even though it's like years apart. Let me see what else did I like. And I liked for a 1998 game, like it looks really good. They had like emotions. They had like you can tell what a character was thinking, even in freaking like even though it was just like stagnant expressions and pictures, you can tell what they were thinking. You would tell, oh my god. But like just imagine like Resident Evil 2 came out the same year, 1998. And in that game, they really didn't focus on expression. They focused on, you know, the environment, the movement, all this stuff like that. And so did Ocarina of Time, yet you can definitely tell what the characters are thinking. You can definitely tell what you know, what's on their mind, even though it's pixels. Big pixels, big chunk pixels, you know, 64-bit. I like that. I really like that. And it makes the game extremely charming. I like it. I think I that was the best aspect of the game. Like just how it looked and just the world. I liked all that. And the story was actually pretty good. It's pretty well done. I like it. I see why a lot of people liked it on that basis alone. But if we get into what I don't like, which are most of the dungeons, and I have a list of how I felt about every single dungeon. And yeah, they were, for the most part, they were pretty annoying. They were definitely tedious. I hate it because it's like I was playing with the Xbox controller, and I couldn't imagine playing with a Nintendo 64 controller because Nintendo 64 controllers are literally the worst controllers besides, in my opinion, GameCube controllers. I hate GameCube controllers. But anyway, it's so hard to control. It's so bad. And then you go into like dungeons where you have to be precise. It's so bad. I'm sorry. I hate it. But let's get into how I feel about every single dungeon. So how I felt about every single dungeon, the Deku Tree. I hated the spiders. I hated the platforming. It was so annoying. But I liked the boss. The freaking spider boss, iconic. I love it. Let me see. The Dodongo's Cavern. I honestly hated fighting the little baby ones. I hated the freaking area. And it doesn't really, like the boss, it was like a roly-poly basically. It was dumb. I didn't care for it. Jabu Jabu, I hated it. I hated that one. It was interesting location. I was like, oh, that's pretty neat, right? And the boss wasn't bad. I hated Ruto. I hated. She is such a cunt. I hated her. I wanted to leave her, but I had to bring her with me. Oh my gosh, I wanted that girl to perish in Jabu Jabu's stomach. I wanted her to die. She got on my nerves. I hated that girl. That, like, oh my gosh, I hated that. Like, it freaking gives me night terrors just thinking about carrying her and then she has this attitude for no reason, like, I'm saving you, yo daddy asked me to come get you. Anyway, I'm going on a tangent about this girl. I hated her so much. Oh my god, I hated this girl. Like, and just like talking to her, but then you go to Zelda, which was like, I'm like, Zelda was such a breath of fresh air compared to her. I'm like, oh my god, like, bro, I hated her. All right, so those were the I think those are kid dungeons that you could do as a kid. Let me see. Oh yeah, I'm trying to think. What was next? Forest Temple. I hated the Forest Temple. I spent way too long in the Forest Temple. It was like, I don't know why I got stuck on the freaking puzzle of the thing. I hated it. The music, if you remember the music, it was supposed to be creepy, but if you listen to it for freaking hours, it's annoying. It's like, it's annoying. I hated it. And I'm just like, when I heard like, oh, you can hear Link's like voice in there, and it was creepy at first, but then it's like, okay, this is annoying. Like, this is so annoying. It was raining in my head, and every time I hear it, I'm just like, I hate this. I hate it. But the boss was amazing. It was amazing. Freaking Phantom Ganon. Oh my gosh, that was so creative. And I'm just like, this. Okay, the boss makes up for it. I like it a lot. Freaking the Fire Temple, not a bad temple. It was definitely my favorite temple. It was, just here, there, fire, platform here and there. The boss was interesting. What was his name? Volvagia, I think so. The dragon. I thought it was all right. Nothing. I can't think of anything bad about the dungeon except for the freaking Gorons. I hate the Gorons. They're annoying. A lot of people's favorite, the freaking water temple. Like, when I tell you, I spent days on this temple. And mind you, I was streaming this. So it's like I have people trying to tell me how to do things. I'm asking my viewers, how do I beat this? They're like, I don't know. I'm like, but the thing is, they say they don't know, but they was enjoying me struggle. Enjoying me get upset. I was so angry with this freaking temple. It was the worst. It was literally hell. Like, I hated having to go and change in just the water, just to go in this room. I hated that. I had to switch the boots. It was so dumb. I hated that. Like, I heard the DS version fixed that issue, and I want to play the DS version eventually, but it's like playing that made me want to stop playing the game. I hated it. Oh my god, I did not want to do that. Like, I've heard of this infamous water temple. Like, everyone knows about the water temple. I heard it's bad. But actually playing it myself, oh my god, never again. That makes me never want to touch that game again. Besides the controls, of course. But it's like, that made me never want to touch that game. Ever. I hated that. It made me hate that. The boss was even worse. What was his name? Morphos. I hated the boss. I freaking, like, bro, I hated that boss with a passion. Like, it was so dumb. It was so, like, when you're coming from the fire temple or the forest temple boss, I'm like, okay, these are pretty neat. And then you go to this freaking blob monster. Like, freaking, that was basically perfect chaos. That was perfect chaos, but dumb. I'm like, this is really dumb. I hate this boss. And it's like, I don't know, maybe I was just bad at it, but it's just like, bro, this boss sucks. Like, who did this? Whose idea was this? I hated that. I will never touch that game again because of that alone. There's other reasons why, but it's like, that alone would make me never want to touch that game again. The Shadow Temple was interesting. It was definitely different. I like that you had to use the little mirror thing to see and all that stuff like that. I was playing with but so it didn't really work as well. It was kind of like glitchy, but I managed to get this to work. I thought it was interesting. It was a little creepy. I'm not gonna lie. I hate it. This is what made me never want this too. The hover boots, the worst thing ever because they're slippery. And I hate it. Like, the controls are already dookie. So it's like, oh, let's just add ice effects on them. That's trash. What? Whose idea was that? To make this goofy controls already, like, worse? Like, I don't get that. Like, why? Why make me struggle? I don't get it. Like, I understand adding a challenge, but it's like, no, you are purposely making this game harder. For no reason. You don't have to do that. No one asked you to do that. Was that part of your bonus? I'm gonna need you not to do that again. Just for that. That alone can also make me not want to touch that game again. I hated it. Oh my god. Spirit Temple was fine. I liked it. It was the temple was not bad. I liked it. It was really interesting. It had a lot of fighting in it. You had to fight a lot of those skulls, which it was that added additional. Now that's a challenge where you have to kind of like work around them. I thought that was interesting. Best boss of the game. Twin Rover, best boss of the game. I love it. I love Twin Rover. It's really interesting. I like it. The Spirit Temple probably was my favorite temple. Then I would say the Fire Temple, and then I'm not even going to list the Water Temple is definitely last. Then Shadow Temple. If I had to say in order of the actual temples, I would have to say, what would I say? I would say Spirit, Fire, what I got here? Spirit, Fire, and I'm including the kid ones. I would, the Dongo, probably, just because. Deku Tree, Jabu Jabu, Forest Temple, Shadow Temple, Water Temple. There we go. Right off the head like that. It could be easy adjusting, but more or less, Water Temple is definitely last. Spirit Temple is first. And then you go into Ganon's Castle, which I didn't really consider it a temple because you could just run up there and you just fight enemies. It's not really a temple per se. It wasn't that like a temple per se, but it was it wasn't as like crazy as I thought it was. But oh no, it was. I forgot it had that extra stuff. Oh yeah, it was. It basically was a temple. It was. It kind of it like had used everything. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, it was basically like a temple because it had that whole invisible. Oh god, that was annoying. It was annoying. But then you go to the boss fight, and you play. I hated the light tennis. I hated it because I wasn't good at it. And that's not the game's fault. It's my fault. But it's like I hated it. It wasn't good at it. But the boss fight against freaking Ganon, iconic. Like I see. Like if you don't remember all the gobbledygook in this game, but then you see, I'm glitching because it's like this freaking filter. It shows my hand. It shows my hand. But anyway, so yeah, the freaking final fight, iconic. It was hard beating it until I freaking was able to kind of glitch up, and all you have to do is go between his legs, and he can't touch you. Go between his legs, and he can't touch you. But before realizing that lame little cheat, it's an iconic fight. It's a beautiful fight. Freaking like Ganon, the beast or whatever he is, Ganon. Super cool. I wish like they'll show that kind of Ganon more often rather than like the beast Ganon, which I think is cool, but it's like I like when he's standing on his hind legs. I like that he can hold weapons. He's not just some boar. You know what I'm saying? But I liked it. I like it. And of course, the main thing I already mentioned that I hated were the controls. The Nintendo 64's controls were awful. Oh my god, it was bad. So I can't imagine playing it on Nintendo 64. I was playing with an Xbox controller, Xbox One controller, the best controller ever made, and I'm just like, this is terrible. I hated it. I hated work with the camera. I hate Z-targeting. It's awful in that game. Oh my god, it's so bad. I'm like, I hate it. It was so bad. But the game overall, I would give it like oh god. Let me see. But that goes into my next notes. Anyway, in closing, freaking, like, I see why a lot of people like it. Like, it's a very memorable piece, especially if you were, like, little playing it, and then you beat it. It's crazy. It's so memorable. It's, like, the dungeons, even though they were annoying for me, like, I'm just imagining it as a child, like when it came out and playing it as a child, even playing it as an adult, it's iconic for a reason. And it's like this came out in 1998. It was a whole it was a world, a huge world that you can just play. Like I know that sounds really stupid, but it's like it came out in 1998 on the Nintendo 64. Like they really did. They really put their foot in this game. They really did. It's like, I'm not the hugest fan, but I get why people are. It's really iconic. Like, the fight sequences are really good. Like, the camera work for the game itself. Not like my trying to control it type camera. But the camera itself is, that the way they handle it is really good. Like, the freaking directing is really good. It's done really well. The lighting in the game is really well. And I'm glad as an adult I can really appreciate that. Like, I know little kids don't really appreciate that. It's like, oh, this is a really good game. I like this. This is fun. This is my favorite game. But like as an adult, I can appreciate the work that they really put their stuff, like the people that actually put their work into this game. I appreciate that they put that work into it. Overall, it's a good game. I just didn't have the best experience because I'm not very good at video games, and I was working with a and it wasn't as I didn't get the authentic experience, but I experienced it nonetheless, and I could still appreciate it even though I hated a lot of the aspects of the game. And would I recommend this game? I would recommend this game. I definitely would. I would recommend the DS version, even though I never played it. I hear that it is like a better version of it, like especially when it comes to controls. But I will also say play the Nintendo 64 version so you can experience like the initial release, because it's not a bad looking game. For 1998, it's not a bad looking game. Some people don't appreciate old games like that. I do. I don't care how old the game looks. If it looks good, especially for the time that it was released, I can enjoy the game. It was just so hard. It was so hard. And what would I rate my experience from 1 to 10? What would I rate the game? So if I'm going based off everything I just said, no bias, because I love Legend of Zelda and I love the game is a phenomenal game. If I'm going based off my experience alone, oh my god, this thing is messing with my camera. I would give it a hard, strong 6, probably a 5, because even though I think the game is amazing, I think it's a strong Legend of Zelda title, strong Nintendo title, I am never touching this game again. Never. The controls are just so bad. The water dungeon is unforgivable. I'm not touching that game again. If you go to my Twitch, which I'm going to put a link in if you watch this on YouTube, if you go to my Twitch, I do have a save video in there of me playing against the bongo freaking boss in the Shadow Temple. When I tell you, when I lost again, I freaking cried. I had to stop because I was crying. I hated it. I wasn't like bawling. I was crying because I was so mad that I had to do the dungeon again. Because it's the way they were set up. You have to do the entire dungeon again. I hated that. And when I finally beat it, I was like, I'm never touching this game again. I hated it. I was so mad. But yeah, I would give it a strong 5, maybe a 6. I said strong 6 at first, but I thought about that. I'm just like, no, 5, a 5. But if I'm going based off just the respect and just like the world and just the game, the way the game presents itself, I would give it a strong 8, 9 probably. It's a really beautiful game, an amazing game, and very memorable. Beautiful music, everything. Like, it's a lot of good things in this game. And I feel like if it was remade today, like freaking Breath of the Wild graphics and like the same story, everything else is the same except for the controls. But Breath of the Wild, like bone structure, but like Zelda, like Ocarina of Time, like clothes and skin. That will be a phenomenal game. Like, that would be an amazing game. I would play that. Like, all they have to do is fix the controls, and it would be a phenomenal game for me. And would I play it again? No, I would not. Never. I know I said this multiple times. I am not touching that game again. I can say that I beat it and I'm done. I don't want to touch that game again. Never, ever. If you want to pay me, I would probably still say no. But anyway, y'all, I thank y'all so much for remembering Ocarina of Time with me. I appreciate that. If you want to be a part of the conversation, follow me on my Twitter, preferably TikTok, because I want to post some of these clips on my TikTok. So let me know. Definitely subscribe to my YouTube for visuals if you want to see, like, I am recording this visually. And lastly, feel free to follow me on my Twitch. Like, why not? Because I do stream games. And there's a lot of games coming out this freaking, as of 2022 in August. We're August. There's a lot of games coming out this year. Callisto Protocol, oh my god. So I'm going to stream that. So definitely check me out. But anyway, y'all, I thank y'all so much for listening. I am Queen of All Slots, and this has been Pop Culture Shop.